Hi, and welcome to Color Your Home Happy. I'm Justine, founder and creative mind behind Rainbow Shaker, a colorful interior design studio in London. My goal is to spread joy and happiness through the design of cheerful interiors. If, like me, you think that we need a colorful bubble to escape the daily gloom, then this podcast is definitely for you. Each episode, I will be welcoming well-known guests from various colorful backgrounds. You won't find us speaking about the right way to use colors. In this podcast, I want to help you trust your intuition and give you all the confidence you need when designing interiors full of dopamine. Welcome to Color Your Home Happy. I'm Justine, your vibrant host and colorful interior designer at Rainbow Shaker. Today, we're exploring how color can uplift our homes and our minds with the brilliant June Mineyama-Smithson, also known as MAMIMU. June is a Japanese artist, graphic designer, teacher, speaker, and judge, bringing color everywhere she goes, known for her bold, joyful designs and a mission to spread optimism through her work. So without any further ado, let's jump into this colorful conversation. Hi, June. How are you?
Hi, Justin. I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and for dressing in such a colorful way. I'm so jealous of your dress. It's beautiful.
I'm jealous of your pink.
Can you tell us a bit more about you and your colorful journey?
Sure. I am originally from Tokyo, grew up through the groovy 70s and the vibrant 80s. So I was always surrounded by colors, joyful things. But my creative journey hasn't been straightforward, I guess. I studied English language in Japan. Although I enjoyed art and all creative stuff at school, I thought I should study something proper, get a proper job. So I studied English language and then worked at an airline company doing just desk work for a few years and got really bored, as you can imagine. So I started evening courses to become a web designer, then realized that web design is just a tiny part of graphic design. And that's when I decided to come to London to study graphic design. And now I practice graphic design, paint, and I teach graphic design as well.
Yeah, I see that you, like me, dabbled on many things.
But all that experience is weaved into your work, and I think
to
that's
shape you.
I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think they bring something different. Is your family also very colorful, or?
My uncle Asami is an award-winning screen printer, and my other uncle was an interior designer actually, and they were both very brilliant screen printers. And in Japan, we sent New Year cards instead of Christmas cards. So every year we had the New Year cards from my uncle's really great floral or scene from where they are from, which is up north called Niigata Prefecture. Every year I saw the beautiful cards, and that's how I grew up.
Putting a lot of effort into their cards.
Yes. And my mum was doing always creative stuff like sewing or curving plates and stuff like that. I think it's just at the time that my mum wasn't almost allowed to be an occupational designer or artist or creative occupation. Only, men in these days could have that kind of occupation. So I wish my mum could have done more creative career, but I'm kind of fulfilling that what she wanted to do.
Yeah, when you think about it today, it's so
different times.
And do you feel that Japanese culture has influenced your work?
Yeah, definitely. Both uncles' work were quite Japanese, all the colors and style, but also I studied kimono patterns and realized that they are from quite everyday motif, like fish scale, so cloud, waves, but artisans in olden days found beauty in them and made beautiful patterns. I really like that philosophy, but transplanted the idea into modern days. So I went out and see what's my 21st century London version of fish scales, and I found manhole covers. Everywhere you go, they're slightly different. Islington have their own manhole covers. When you go to, in my hometown, Mitaka, which means 3 eagles, because Shogun used to do eagle hunting. So we have like kind of 3 chevron shape patterned manhole covers as well. So I kind of remixed them and created patterns, and eventually that's how I made tote bags, because at the time I couldn't find any tote bags that is functional and stylish. So I decided to produce my own. But it's all sold out now.
So, yeah, you're a very proactive person. You're always looking for next thing to do. And in Japan, the kind of aesthetics and design is we find beauty in our surroundings, in nature.
I think it might comes from Buddhism or Shinto, actually. We're not a very religious nation, but we've always had Buddhism and Shinto philosophy in our lives. Like Ghibli film, they always say everything has got spirit or God. The big tree in Totoro, for example, that's a god that protects everyone. There's a scene they say thank you to the tree. Totoro themselves, a little spirit or god representing the nature.
With the umbrella.
Yeah. So I think there's that kind of being grateful to the nature, and of course you want to use them as a motif.
It can be also linked to color, because we see color everywhere we go, like sunrises, like color of leaves. Plants can be very colorful.
Yeah. There is also a bit more subtle side of colors as well. So we have the philosophy of wabi-sabi, which is basically the celebration of subtle things and shadows almost, shadow, rust, and imperfection. They are not like really bold colors, but more like muted, kind of rusty, green, brown. We can't ignore that, because if everything is bright and colorful or warm colors, it gets a bit too much. I think
it's all about
balance it. Yeah, definitely. I like that side as well.
For me, I feel like in my designs, for example, I use a lot of colors, but as we can see, for example, here in my home, I love to balance it with raw materials like wood, OSB, the bricks, and like kind of something that rounds the design.
Yeah.
And that highlights the colors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that kind of duality exists in us as well. We can be extrovert and introvert at the same time, and we might not want to be sociable all the time, or we don't want to just stay at home and being quiet all the time either. So yeah, that balance represents us.
I want to dive a bit more into your mission to spread optimism through your work.
Absolutely. So my mission is to spread optimism, but that's not really about just kind of happy-go-lucky, lofty idea, but it's more of resilience and grit, because without them, we can't change the world. It sounds like huge, but if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, without fulfilling the lower tier, which is like shelter and sleep and all that, and the top is the self-actualization, which includes taking actions, activism. So my mission is to give people courage or hope to think that the world gets better, although we're not in the ideal place right now. I mean, especially now, like geopolitics and wars and all things we'd rather not have happening. But without optimism, we'll just stay in that place and think, oh no, this is just too much big power. We can't do anything about that.
Yeah, just surviving.
Yeah.
not living.
Yeah, but rather than that, I would like to give people the motivation to take action through bold colors and shapes.
Yeah.
Noam Chomsky said, I'm paraphrasing this, optimism is a strategy because without the idea that things get better, we don't take action. Yeah, that's why I do what I do. That's my philosophy. It takes energy, but the energy comes from the grit and maybe something stress and what we don't like gives us energy to take actions. And I think colors really can help.
Exactly. And also it's important to bring this optimism at home as well, to be motivated for your day and say everything's going to be all right. It's like your colorful little haven and that's charging your batteries.
Yeah, we can talk about neuroaesthetics actually. Yeah, neuroaesthetics is instead of form follows function, it's form follows feelings. And I think we have been intuitively choosing colors for bold colors for happiness and carrying on more motivation. But now scientists are finding out that these aesthetics are actually measurable, like measuring heart rate or brain scan. So if you see artwork you love, the part of brain really lights up. So it's not just kind of abstract idea that these colors work or these, paintings have kind of the feel is actually scientifically measurable now. And
I think that's also very subjective as well, because as an interior designer, I learned color theory with a color wheel, analogous colors, chromatic, monochromatic, and everything. Like I learned about it, but I don't really use it because sometimes colors or combinations of colors brings a different emotions or feelings to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think color wheels a bit misleading. I teach postgraduate students at university, and when they are presented color wheel, of course they go like, okay, these are the complementary colors, so they should work. But, within purple hue and yellow hue, for example, they're like millions of varieties, so there's no guarantee that they'll work harmoniously and appropriate for whatever the project. And there's a sense of smell, sense of memory, and everyone's different, so it's very difficult to choose the right color by the theory.
Exactly.
But I think the better way to do it is sharpen our intuition. Intuition is not just kind of this witchcraft.
Yeah, I'm not invoking the cards.
It's a wisdom that's built through experiences, through life. So all that is much, much better than fixated by color theory.
For example, I wasn't born with an intuition. When I was a teenager or even a few years ago, I was wearing all gray or I wasn't really into colors. And then I don't know, something like switched in me and I was like, I'm going to just experiment. Taking the time to appreciate and reflect helped me gain a bit this intuition. Even the shapes, like for example, with my husband, we had a place where visually I could so like, okay, if I put stripes, it's gonna create the feeling I want in here. And I can't paint the whole wall because it's not gonna bring the same thing. Yeah, but it's the same. And then I showed him and he's like, but how do you do that? I don't know. I feel it.
Yes.
I'm taking the time to absorb also the space. I'm, for example, sitting down, looking at it, then looking up, then like every angle, then taking a picture, then just taking the time. And then I'm like, I think I see it.
Yeah, it's difficult to convince the client,
Yeah, because it's not logic. It's,
yeah.
When I was an engineer, it was much more easier because people can't contest a calculation. But when you're designing, it comes from within. It comes from your guts. So it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I think that's why neuroaesthetics is really interesting. I'm reading this book, Your Brain on Art. It's really fascinating what they're finding and actually make so much difference in people with color and art.
And for yourself, how do you pick colors?
How do I pick color? Intuition. But intuition, like you said, it can be trained and learned. In my domestic course, I have this little fun exercise to look at an ordinary apple and see how many colors you can find, because it's not just flat red, is it? And how many patterns can you find? Oh, the speckles and stripes. You would be surprised at how many things you can find in just one ordinary apple. Also, apple have so many different connotations and sayings in different cultures. Yeah. For example, in China, they give apple to the brides to be. In Japan, for example, we say apple cheeks, which is like red cheeks.
There is this saying here, like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yes, so apple is good health.
But also, there's connotation of the sin from Adam and Eve. Yeah. Poisonous from Snow White. Yeah. Wisdom. So lots of different connotations, good and bad. So conceptually, it's really rich as well once you look into it. Yeah, so it's a little exercise I recommend. And once you've done that exercise, you go out and see the world really differently, and you pick up loads of colors, then I promise. So yeah, that's how I would pick colors.
I think that's a very important advice. And also, as you said, we see color differently, whether it's flat, it's round. And that's also when you're selecting things for your home. We can do online shopping, and the colors online are very different than what is real. Yeah. And also, even the furniture that you see online, when the color is on, it looks flat. But when it goes into your home, it can look different because the light will hit it differently.
Yeah, it's not just the color, is it really?
Yeah, it's how you see it.
The whole experience.
Yeah. You also collaborated with a neuroscientist, Dr. Tara Swart, to create art that induces a sense of optimism. What was the initial inspiration behind it?
So that project was really a dream project from start to finish. ITV approached me and said, okay, so this year's theme is all about collaboration. So give us a dream list of collaborators and we'll find them. And so I said, okay, I want to collaborate with either psychologist, sociologist, or neuroscientist to create the ultimate optimism to combine art and science together. Like, as if by magic, they found Dr. Tara Swart, who is really lovely. That kind of optimism is inspiration again. Then we talked about how we can create this optimum optimism, combining art and science. So we had a quite lengthy chat, and I asked her lots of questions, like, why do you think Bridget Riley paintings make me happy, or why sunshine make us feel warm? And she had all the scientific answers, of course. Yeah, for example, sunshine, it's associated with vitamin D, and vitamin D creates serotonin in the brain. Therefore, we associate sunshine with happiness. Yeah. But we fed that into the art, which becomes ITV's ident. So, for example, I had this sequence that raindrops, when they hit the floor, becomes ripple of sunshine. And Dr. Tara's scientific explanation was, so turning negative into positive is a good way to create neuroplasticity. So that was a cat, by the way. She talked neuroplasticity a lot. In old days, we've been told you have to learn this by the age of 3. For example, your mom has to listen to classical music for you to be a genius or whatever. But that's not true at all. In any age, our brain can grow, expand like plastic.
Yeah, you're never too old to learn.
Yeah. That was a great inspiration for our theme. Another sequence we did was this web of lights, different beads of light falling. It kind of depicts the fear of unknown, I guess. But then if you're brave enough to go down the unknown darkness, actually the web of all the lights that depicts the connection. And Dr. Tara's explanation was that induce oxytocin in our brain. So oxytocin is like the love hormone. It's this connection bonding hormone. Then the last scene was this bright lights everywhere with a little bit of colored lights going up, and that was about reaching your highest achievement, and that induced dopamine. All the things we created were meant to designed to induce happy hormone in our brains. So she had really this amazing acronym called DOOS. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins.
I think we hear a lot about dopamine nowadays, and it's kind of the very trendy
Instagram.
I felt the dopamine, for example, when I'm painting something in my house. I feel this rush of dopamine, and I'm transforming into this kind of mad scientist / painter, and I want to paint everything. And sometimes it's hard to stop this rush of dopamine taking over. And like I'm telling my husband, oh, I'm going to just paint one thing, and then he comes back and I paint everything. Like,
wow.
Why? I don't know. I had this rush, and sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I took it too far. Sometimes you have to disconnect from this rush of dopamine and take a step back. Just
your brain made you to do it, but it's natural drugs. It's a happy hormone in your brain that makes you do it.
The other aspect that's also very important, I see, for example, in my design is I like to reconnect to my inner child and bring playfulness. In your design process, you're also bringing a lot of playfulness as well.
Yeah. When I was a child, my favorite thing to do was to go to the nearby bus stop and say konnichiwa, hello to everyone who was getting off the bus. And some people said konnichiwa back. Some people didn't, but when they smiled back, I just got this like amazing rush happiness. And even as a 5 years old, I had this realization that I have power to make someone smile. So playfulness for me is more of creating that feeling in people. So it doesn't have to be necessarily kind of childish and too crazy. But maybe if you're creating a pattern, this rhythmic, certain rhythm could be playful, or breaking that rhythm can be a little kind of more witty playfulness rather than crazy all over. I think that the kind of playfulness I would like to work with in my work.
In my kitchen, I have a cheeky frame, and I installed it because my husband loves to use the kitchen, baking a lot, cooking a lot. Like one day he came to the kitchen and then he saw this and it made him smile. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it's just like, I know that he's going to see it every day and that it's going to make him smile.
It's often the small things that make us happy.
I see, for example, when I'm dressing colorfully, it motivates me, but it also, I see the effect on people. They also come to you. I participate into the London Color Walk, which is a gathering of color lovers, very quirky and traditional.
Oh, that's lovely.
And you can see that just like, what's happening? Wow. Or taking a lot of pictures and saying, oh, I'd love to be as colorful, but you really brighten my day today. I see people smile and it makes me feel like I'm bringing something different to people. It's always a good feeling.
That's really powerful, isn't it? That's brilliant. That is wonderful. I think it takes bravery to initiate that playfulness. But when people react in the equally playfulness, that's like reward worth the risk of being brave.
Yeah, exactly. And do you have tips or advice on how listeners can also do the same, like bring more playfulness?
I think maybe start small. So rather than painting the whole wall, maybe start with an artwork or even a postcard card and see how you feel. Then you can work your way up. And before you know it, you're painting your wall. But everyone's different, right? Some people want something brave. Some people just want something portable. We might change as well in 10 years' time. We're renovating our kitchen and the living room now. And there are some artwork we bought and liked 15 years ago.
And now you're not so sure.
And we were talking about maybe we can be more grown up and have a bit more fine art rather than this kind of contemporary graphic design work. We still like them though. We're just finding places for different stuff we have.
Maybe in some rooms in your home or a combination of those. In addition to color, I think individuality and personal expression in your own home, it's really important. And this is bringing you joy as well because you're true to your own self, I would say, and not someone you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one student asked me the other day, what's your favorite color? And I said, I can't choose just one color because I'm not just a single kind of one-dimensional person. I am an artist, designer, lecturer, but I'm also a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. So that can't be expressed in just one color.
Yeah.
And you don't have to either. You kind of dial up and down depending on the occasion and the color you wear, whether your clothes, your makeup would be different. Not say just enjoy in every occasion. You decide how you dial up and down who you are. Curate your own personal branding and colors. And if you're going to party, curate that impression with colors and makeup, what you wear, then you'd behave in such a way and people treat in such a way as well.
Yeah, it's, for example, through this evolution of careers. And before in my former job, I was with long hair and wearing mostly gray outfit because I was kind of stuck in a mold and I had to be this logical person, like be taken seriously. And so I dressed in a more traditional way.
Right.
I felt that it was a part of myself, but at some point I felt that I needed to change and another part of me was taking over.
Right.
I don't know, it's like having different personalities that are in you. And when you look at the pictures, you're like, oh, wow, I was this person, now this person, now this person. But it's still me.
Yeah, definitely. And, there's no shame in that either. You change, you dress differently, and times change as well. And, people just behave differently, and that's okay. Just be yourself in that time that you're happy with.
So we're coming to the end of our episode. June, is there a way our listeners can contact you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm MAMIMU Tokyo everywhere. So MAMIMU Tokyo. I'm mainly active on Instagram and LinkedIn. And my website is also mamimutokyo.com.
On the website, people can dive a bit more also in the collaboration you did.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, all the collaborations in there as well. And if you want to join my mailing list to be my VIP and get the news first.
Thank you again, June, for coming here and for chatting on how to spread optimism.
Thank you. That was a great conversation.
And also thank you for joining us on this colorful conversation. I hope to see you soon on a new Color Your Home Happy episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, don't hesitate to subscribe, rate, or review on the different listening platforms. To say hello and get all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at rainbow.shaker. And if you want to check out my services, you can go to my website, www.rainbowshaker.com. Thanks again, and I wish you all a very colorful day. See you next time!